Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dugout Football Channel. Welcome back to the Prem Predictions Show. A little bit different due to time constraints. This is being pre-recorded, and it is week 23. Yes, and big results did happen. Manchester City going back to the top of the league after beating Arsenal by 3-1. Is that the killer blow? Or will there be twists and turns? Well, as we say, nothing is won in February, nothing is won in March. It's just about April and May. I'm delighted to say I've been joined by Mr. Reese Russell. How are you, Reese?
I'm very well, thank you. And obviously, when this comes out, 12 o'clock, 5.5 hours later, I nearly said 5.5 years, 5.5 hours later, I'll be on my third watch along in the space of 5 days because I'll be doing the watch along for obviously my team versus Barcelona in the Europa League. Good watch along from yourself. Good matches all around Europe and the league this week. So yeah, I'm buzzing. Thanks for having me back on. It's been a little while. This is going to be good. I've not done a prediction stream since last year, so this is good. This is definitely
that is very, very true. I was actually thinking the last one we did, and it definitely was last year. Just to let people know, the score currently. It was 10-8 to the guest, but Patrick did beat me last week. So it is 12. He beat me by 12 points to 9. So it is 10-9 to me, in fact. So chance for you to get back to 10-10, or me a chance to get further clear with 11-9. But let's get things right off the bat. And it is Aston Villa against Arsenal, and it has not been a good week for Arsenal, drawing 1-1 with Brentford. In a game, you'd have to say they were pretty lucky. And then against Manchester City, that killer blow, Man City back to the top of the league. Aston Villa did lose 3-1 against Manchester City. But actually in that second half, I thought they were a lot better. So how do you see this one going? 12:30 kickoff on Saturday.
Yeah, very early. The only good thing for Arsenal is they won't have to travel far. So that's actually good for them in the sense of the fixture compared to one other team that we'll be discussing later on in today's show. Arsenal's form has tailed off. I mean, they went from the whole of October onwards up until not too long ago. They didn't lose a single game. They only lost one game all season. That was against Man United at Old Trafford. And it all went horribly wrong after that. Like in terms of recent results, they've dropped points in successive games now, and
yeah,
I've always wondered, and not in a horrible way to Arteta, but I was actually wondering in a way when it would actually happen, where you would see what we all call the typical Arsenal, where they have an amazing start to the season. They show everybody that they are a genuine title contender. And they deserve to be in that conversation because they are a very good side. But everybody's already waiting for the typical Arsenal. When's the drop in form going to come in? When are they going to have the blip? When are they going to make silly mistakes? When are they going to get caught out? And they've been caught out by London clubs, and now they've just been beat by Manchester City at home. Like, it's their biggest... I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's true. This game today was bigger than the game that they had against us, where they just managed to beat us at the very end. Like this was the game practically would determine the title race. If they'd won this, then they could have afforded to lose, in my opinion, at the Etihad. I think they could have afforded to lose at the Etihad. But like prior, when Antonio Conte took the Spurs job, Arsenal had a 12-point lead as well at the same time, and they just bottled another 12-point lead. This is massive, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm actually going to say this run's going to continue. I've actually gone for a 2-2 draw. I'm not overly impressed. Yeah, I'm not overly impressed by Arsenal's defensive frailties, and I think they did play okay tonight. I was flicking back, obviously games, in terms of the matches, I was watching them back. I was flicking between the City game and I was flicking between the Champions League games, and all in all, I don't think Arsenal were overall bad. It's just City turned up because they knew what this result meant. If they won, they would go top of the league on goal difference. They've done that. They win 3-1 away from home. Arsenal just didn't really get going. They weren't bad. They just didn't get going at all. And it says all when the only goal they scored, and the genuine threat they had, was a penalty from Bukayo Saka just before half time. After that, they just fell apart. So, yeah, Villa, on the other hand, I would have gave Villa the win, but my overall decision with Villa changed because the fact that they got smashed by Leicester. Like, I would have said, like, Leicester having a fantastic result against Tottenham a couple of weeks ago, and then they go and dismantle Villa as well. Like, it's crazy. Like, back-to-back games, they scored 4 goals in them, and I'm like, Villa are conceding left, right, and centre. I don't think Unai Emery is going to be happy about this. I know he's a man who prides himself on good football, but he prides himself on his defence being tight and compact. They're being exposed too much. So I've went for a draw, but Arsenal could win this game. To be fair, so could Villa. It sounds a little bit like Jermaine Genius, which is awful of me, but either side could effectively win this. But I just think right now both teams are not in the best of form. They're not defensive enough to hold out. I think a draw just seems inevitable.
Yeah, I've gone 2-1 Arsenal. But there was one player that really caught my eye that played against Manchester City. Duran. Duran? I think it's Duran, the Colombian. He was very good when he came on. He should have actually scored a couple of goals. He hit the crossbar, I think, as well. If he starts, I think he'll give Arsenal a few problems. I think Arsenal have been looking a little bit leggy at the moment. And obviously, they have now lost Thomas Partey to, I think, a couple of weeks injury, which is not great for them anyway. But Arsenal should still have too much for Villa. So I'm going to go 2-1 to Arsenal. Guys, obviously, if you are watching on the Premier, do leave your predictions in the comments section, but you can leave them in the live chat as well. As we'll move on to the next game, which is a London derby between Brentford and Crystal Palace. Now, whenever we talk about Brentford, we always seem to talk about, obviously, Ivan Toney. We always seem to talk about, obviously, Mbeumo as well. But one player who has really, really impressed this season is David Raya. How good a goalkeeper is David Raya?
He's that good a goalkeeper that Chelsea, United, and Tottenham are all after him. Like, is their long-term number one? Very good goalkeeper. He fits the bill for what teams really want in the league. If you want to build from the back, he's very composed. His age is good for him as well, long-term as well. Like, if you want a long-term goalkeeper, he's a very good shout. He's already in the national team's main squad. It's genuinely good for Brentford as well. Genuinely good player. So, yeah, I'm 100%. He's been fantastic for them this year. He's been absolutely brilliant.
How unlucky were Brentford at Arsenal?
Very. I mean, I think the one thing that everyone's going to talk about is the VAR decision, and it happens. But VAR or no VAR, I still think they wanted a point or at least 3 points in that game. To be fair, the VAR decision happens. That's not in Brentford's control.
Yeah,
and rightfully so. It should have been ruled offside. But it wasn't. But if anything, it helped the fact that it allowed Brentford to get a draw they did deserve. Arsenal didn't really do anything after that. They tailored off. They looked flat. Brentford just wanted more.
I think as well it evens out the decision to not give Mbeumo his goal because
absolutely.
I can't remember, I think it was either Saliba or Gabriel. They just fell over. There's no foul.
Yeah.
There's no foul. Mbeumo basically does everything right to, keep going with his. With the chest control, there's no foul there, so I think they got a little bit lucky, and obviously the decision as well. But I thought Brentford bullied Arsenal. I thought they were very, very good. Toney especially was excellent. Crystal Palace, a bit fortunate, I think, to get a draw. I mean, Sanchez makes an absolutely horrible howler, and James Tompkins is the player that got the goal as well. But Palace's form has been sort of up, and it's been down. It's been in the middle. And I've got to be honest, they're going to the G-Tech Community Stadium, and I just think Brentford at this moment in time are in very, very good form. The only way is up for Brentford. I'm going to give them a 2-0 victory.
And also as well, they're unbeaten in 10, 11 games? Brentford, like their unbeaten run is fantastic for a team outside the top six, was now top seven. If you include Newcastle in there, that's personal preference. I mean, I don't. Not yet. They have to earn that. Money doesn't determine your position. I also think the same in terms of Brentford winning this, but Palace can still sneak a wee goal in there. Like they can always get like a wee cheeky goal, but I don't think it'll determine everything. I've gone for 3-1 Brentford. I've gone 3-1.
3-1 Brentford. Yeah, interesting one. But yeah, we both gone for Brentford victories in that one.
Yeah.
Two sides who are having fantastic seasons. Brighton and Albion against Fulham. Brighton should have beaten Palace. I've got to say, should have been Palace. Again, another decision from VAR. Solly March, I think it was, that obviously got his goal, but he should have had another one. Ridiculous decision to do that all. Fulham, 2-0 victory over Nottingham Forest. And Willian, fantastic strike as well into the top corner. How far could these two go, do you think?
I think Fulham are going to get the Conference League. I think Fulham are going to finish in Europe. As for Brighton, they could also get in there, but I don't know. I just, it's so hard to call. I think Fulham right now I think they're the better of the two sides. I think they are better defensively and better attacking wise. Although Brighton have played fantastic under De Zerbi. Marco Silva's he's really turned his career around in terms of the Premier League when he had such an awful win percentage with Hull City and Everton. He was doomed. He was doomed from the Premier League every time he came into the Premier League. He was always doomed because he had such a horrible record.
Yeah,
he's done it right this time with Fulham. He's invested wisely with the owners, the Cans. They've brought in Premier League experience. They've went against what they did last time. They didn't go overly spending. They just spent in the right way and they spent in the right positions and they improved the squad. Mitrovic has finally settled into the Premier League as a Premier League player. He looks like he can finally take it with the amount of goals he's scoring. Andres Pereira's done really well. Palhinha's been their player of the season, in my opinion. Yep. That young lad Reed, brilliant player. Willian has taken. He's taken back to the league again like duck to water. It feels like It feels like he didn't even leave the league. Like that's how easy it's been for him at Fulham. It's such a tough game to call, but I think both sides will be a bit cagey, just because I think they'll know like how good they are. I think you'll see a lot of respect from both of these teams, and I say that loosely about certain games where you'll say, "Oh, they're going to show each other respect." I think Brighton and Fulham will show each other too much respect, and they won't go for the kill. So I've actually gone for a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I was to and fro in between this game. I had 1-1. I had 2-2. But in the end, I've gone 2-1 Brighton. But I'm not too sure about that one. Not too sure about this. Yeah, maybe home advantage might be the case. But as you say, Fulham been fantastic under Silva. I've to a big sorry to Fulham fans. I didn't think Silva would be able to last the season, but
me neither.
Well done to him. And the same with De Zerbi. He's done very well for Brighton as well. So tough one to call, but I'm just going to go with the Seagulls there.
I think what's interesting is how Brighton handle Mitrovic and Willian, but also will McAllister cancel out Palhinha or Caicedo if he's playing? Will Caicedo cancel out Palhinha, and then how will McAllister favour in his favoured role? How will Palhinha control the midfield for Fulham? And I think for Fulham is how they handle Mitoma. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. And I'm not mentioning the likes of Caicedo and McAllister, but handling them because in their own right they're good players. But I think Mitoma has been Brighton's best player, like by a mile.
100%.
He's so good to watch. McAllister's great. I wouldn't be surprised if McAllister goes to Man City in the summer. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up at a club like that. He deserves a big move. Caicedo as well if he goes to Arsenal. Mitoma, on the other hand, he can go anywhere. Like he's awesome to watch. the goals against Chelsea, the goals against Arsenal, the key performances against Liverpool. Like he's done all this, and he was brilliant against us as well. Like I'm looking forward to the second fixture against us, like the return league match. I'm looking forward to that. See how we fare the second time round. But he's getting better week to week, and I think he's genuinely in a shout of being Brighton's Player of the Year. It'll probably go to Caicedo, but I would say Mitoma personally. I think Fulham really need to be careful with him, and I think the best way is they've got to keep Mbappe on him tight as hell. He's got the pace to keep up with him, but does he have the awareness? I think he has to be very careful against Mitoma. I think Mitoma is the difference. If Fulham can shut him out, then Fulham will get a result. If they can't, then I would agree with you on that 2-1.
Yeah, definitely. It's very, very interesting. And yeah, I mean, Brighton had a ready-made replacement in Mitoma when Trossard went. It was quite great
good
play. It's mental, absolutely mental. The next game is two sides who are really, really not in the best of form. Chelsea versus Southampton. I mean, I've just watched, obviously, Dortmund against Chelsea. I have to give it to Chelsea. I mean, they kept creating chance after chance after chance. But what did we say? Every single time Graham Potter managed Brighton, what was the one thing they said? Didn't score goals. That's creeping into Chelsea. They're not scoring enough goals. And again, against West Ham, to be fair, West Ham, I thought, should have, probably won that game. Southampton, what did we say? I mean, Nathan Jones has been sacked. I don't think he was the best manager for Southampton, but the big news is obviously Jesse Marsch won't be taking charge, which obviously I think is a big relief to both of us because we don't really rate Jesse Marsch as manager, and regardless, he kept Leeds up as well. This is a really difficult game to call because Chelsea, on the other hand, I know they're trying to, gel in this new sort of team at this moment in time, but could you see Southampton get something here?
I actually have 2-1 Southampton on my prediction, to be honest.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. The only reason I have Southampton to win, though, is it's not that I don't rate Chelsea. It's just it's such a big squad, such a lot of good players. Graham Potter's he's still trying to find the best lineup and the best setup for these players. And I think right now they're coming up against a team in Southampton who are in such a massive struggle where every point will determine their season. As much as I want Southampton to stay up for it from a neutral sense, because it's always good to watch Southampton, I still think they're going down. But I think they will still pick up a few wins here and there until the end of the season. I just don't think it'll be enough. But Chelsea right now as well, not scoring enough goals. They're trying to find the best play, the best way to suit them. Coming up against a team who are in the relegation zone with a fight on their hands, it might fall into Southampton's hands here, and that's why I think Southampton could nick something. But it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. Southampton have generally had decent results against Chelsea in the past as well, and Chelsea have had some good results against Southampton as well. We'll see how it fares this time, but I think normally you would say the bigger, better team Chelsea would win this game, but no, I just got a sneaky feeling that Southampton get the result.
I've got 1-1. I've got to be honest, I can't see Chelsea winning this game. And the worrying thing is, when is the next win going to come from? I know, obviously, you've got Mudryk, you've got Felix, you've got Ziyech. Havertz is not great. Cucurella hasn't been a great signing. That's Graham Potter's signings as well. Southampton actually did beat Chelsea 2-1 the last time these two met as well. I think this was just before the World Cup as well. So you could well be right. And yeah, Southampton doing the double over Chelsea. That's not happened in a long, long time.
It'd be funny as well if it's Dembele that gets the goal.
That would be very, very funny. That'd be very, very funny. Indeed.
I think there's something there in it to get something. It's just will they or won't they? I don't know. But either way, it'll be an interesting game to watch.
Yeah, definitely. This is a massive game at the bottom of the table. Everton against Leeds United. I have to say, from obviously watching Liverpool against Everton, I did not expect the Everton performance that happened. I thought Everton would be high on belief, but they showed that Anfield is just a bit of a nightmare ground for them. Leeds, what do we say about Leeds? I mean, the thing is, they gave you a game. They gave you a game. They gave you a game at Old Trafford. Yeah, and they gave you a game at Elland Road. It was just that they didn't score. But wait, what is this game bigger for? Who do you think? Who is this bigger for? Everton or Leeds?
Well, you know me, I done a watch along for United versus Leeds, like the 2-0 win. And I don't know how, it must have been 17 or 18 times I must have said the ball to Maguire and Maguire to X amount of player, like just back and forth, because that's what we did. But it was the way we were set up. We were just draining their energy, even though Somerville and Nonto were absolutely amazing on the flanks. Once it got to like the 77th minute when we scored, we had just drained all their energy, and then they found a little bit more, but it fell into our hands, and then we scored a second goal within 5 minutes. I think if you have to think from a logical sense, Leeds need the win more than Everton, but the fact that this is a big game at home for Sean Dyche, they won his first home game against Arsenal 1-0. A lot of people were saying maybe it should have been 3 or 4, considering how they played. I don't think Everton need the win, but they will want to, for the sense, because obviously it's at home in front of their fans after losing at Anfield as well Monday night, when they weren't actually that bad. Liverpool just clicked into gear finally. Like, if you're a Liverpool fan, you'll be happy that finally, obviously, that he clicked into gear. I think on that sense, though, I think the way that Leeds played against us in both games, where obviously the 2-2 drawn and we beat them 2-0, done us good favour that we kept our annual. Well, at least we beat Leeds once a year, and then they don't win the other game, so we've done that. Like we keep the majority of the points on the red side of the derby. I think the way they played in the second game more than the first game is actually more convincing. Yes, they didn't score, but they were so relentless from back to front. They were so relentless. I'm not sure how long Everton will be able to keep them quiet. If they can keep them quiet like we did by just controlling the ball and just forcing them to expel energy and just let them keep taking chances left, right and centre, Everton will win. But I think the way they played the game the first time around against us, and they drew 2-2, they were much smarter with their expelling energy and their runs from the flanks.
Yeah.
Take positives from both games. They should comfortably survive. So should Everton.
Yeah.
I think, on the other hand, though, it's about which team will want it more. And I don't think either team's going to realistically do enough. I'm going to give it the same scoreline I gave Brighton Fulham. I'm going to go for a 1-0 draw as well. But I actually think Leeds are going to score first. And it'll force Everton to really kick up a gear, and they'll just come back into it towards the end. They'll feed into Calvert-Lewin's strengths now. They're playing the ball longer as well. Like, the amount of passes, like 29 out of 31 passes for Calvert-Lewin from Pickford alone were long ball. Which is crazy. Only 2 short passes, and he went long 29 times, which is rare from Pickford. But the difference in approach going short and long, it could help them against Leeds, where they have to go over the top. The only thing is, though, Leeds have got a fantastic pivot as well.
Yeah, Tyler Adams and obviously Weston McKennie, which is
Nightmares.
still amazing how those two have managed to end up at Leeds. But I'm in the same boat as you. I think if this had been at Elland Road, then I think Leeds would win. Yeah. But the fact this at Goodison Park, I'm going to give Everton a 2-0 win. I think Everton win this 2-0, and it puts Leeds into the relegation zone.
That could happen.
And I mean, there is a couple of games this week where you're like, tricky ones to call. I'm not so sure this one will be tricky to call. Nottingham Forest against Manchester City. Nottingham Forest lost 2-0 to Fulham. fair play. I thought they actually played okay against the Fulham side. Man City did beat Aston Villa 3-1. Weren't convincing in that game, but against Arsenal, they were very, very convincing. I think I know what you're going to say for this one. This game finished 6-0 to Manchester City the last time these two met. I don't think we'll get that this time. But can you see Forest posing a bit of a threat for City?
I think they'll shut them down for a vast majority of the game, but I'm not sure how long this lasts. I agree with you. We're not going to get a 6-0 thrashing, especially if Keylor Navas is in goal. It's not going to be as high as that. He's been fantastic since he's joined Forest. It's why I've only went 1-0 Man City. I've only went single goal at the City ground, to be honest. I think City will win this 1-0 and force more pressure on Arsenal. But I don't think it's going to be high score, and I agree with you. I think City will I think they'll score towards the end. I think the game against Arsenal is taken a lot out of them. And they've got some other big games coming up as well. And frankly, Forest have actually been much better recent weeks as well. They look more solid. Their players are finally gelling the way they want to. They're picking up some decent results here and there. They're close to the top 10, which is what they wanted, but also not what many fans had expected. With the amount of signs they thought they'd get relegated, myself included, I said that. But they've changed that around, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, no, they could still finish inside the top 10 if things keep going their way, the way things are. But I don't think they'll stop Man City from scoring, but they will stop them from scoring a big load. So yeah, I'm going 1-0 Man City on this one.
I'm the same agreement with you, but what's going to happen is I think Nottingham Forest will keep Man City out for as much as they can, and then I think they'll tire towards the end. I think spaces will happen for, say, I've gone 3-0 City, but I do like your 1-0. I do like your 1-0 prediction. This game has the potential of being last on match of the day. Wolves against Bournemouth. Well, fair play to Wolves. They did get a massive win against Southampton, and they needed it as well. Bournemouth did draw 1-1 with Newcastle as well. But are we now seeing the Bournemouth side that we kind of expected to sort of struggle?
Yeah, and I think they're coming up against the worst opponent possible at the wrong time. I think if they'd had Nottingham Forest this weekend or of that level, I think they'd have been fine. They've got, in my opinion, the best coached team in the lower half of the league. Like I said, when Lopetegui was available, that Everton have got to be all over him, because if Wolves get him, I guarantee they'll make a big signing, whether it be a permanent or a loan. He'll come in, he'll get that team coached, and then Wolves will just rapidly rise up the league. So far, I've not been proved wrong once. He's come in, he's done absolutely amazing. It's an absolute coup. They've managed to land an elite manager like him. It's the best manager the Wolves have ever had, by far. And they're ticking really well under him. The system's benefiting them. The 4-3-3, and it transitions into a 4-2-3-1 when they're in defence. They're so composed, they're so calm. They play so much better with the possession of the ball. When they're out of possession, they're very quick to retrieve it. Good passes in there. Ruben Neves has raised his game up. They've got a lot there, and I genuinely think Bournemouth are in massive, massive trouble. So it's no surprise with my scoreline, to be fair. But what about you?
Yeah, I think it's got Wolves home win written all over it. It's either got 1-0 Wolves or 0-0, because Wolves don't score enough goals. But I'm going to go for Wolves to win. I'm going 1-0 Wolves.
I've gone 4-1.
4-1.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I don't think Bournemouth are a bad team. I just think they're coming up against Wolves at the wrong time. And Wolves, like the quality they've got in their squad, they will get one big result all season. Like where they've already had one where they beat Liverpool 3-0.
Yep.
They've got another one in there where they'll go and score more than that. And I think Bournemouth, unfortunately, are the victims. I think Wolves are going to tear them apart.
I think you could be right. I think you could be right. The Saturday tea time game is Newcastle United against Liverpool. Now, Newcastle United 5 draws out of the last 6, Reese. It's not very,
Yep.
not very, very good form. This is a bit of a worrying stat, though. They have not won a game without Bruno Guimaraes. 4 games, 3 draws, 1 defeat. Is that a bit concerning?
It is actually, considering the fact that his suspension expires against Man United, the jammy bugger. So he'll be back for that cup final. It's a massive worry for them, and it's similar to us with Casemiro, fun enough, so we'll be coming on to that very soon. They don't have enough in that. They need to add more midfielders of his quality in the summer. They do need to do that. He's tailor-made to that squad. Like it was a silly decision for him getting sent off, really, which happens. But they look so flat without him. I don't think Eddie Howe knows the best position, like the best player to replace him or come in to do the job. They'll try and do that in the summer. They'll try and find someone. But all in all, they are still a good side.
Yeah. Are Liverpool getting players back at the right time?
Yeah, massively. This is second half of the season where you've still got a big Champions League game to come as well. You've still got us to play the second time. You've still got Arsenal to play. You've still got Man City to play again. You've still got Chelsea. You've still got all these big games still to play. But Newcastle's also a big game. And also at St James's Park. It's a very interesting atmosphere. And he's had a very good game as well, I'm pretty sure, in the first half of the season. So
yeah,
this is massive for Liverpool to get players back at the right time, where injuries, form is crucial as well. Are the players up for it? We'll find out. In the sense of it, obviously, best thing for Liverpool is to get a win. Best thing for a United fan is both teams to drop points altogether. And I actually think they will. It's who will draw first blood. And I'm going to say neither team. I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw.
0-0. Ooh.
It's the only 0-0 draw I think I'll predict this entire stream.
Yeah, Newcastle are pretty good at home. Liverpool are the only team to beat Newcastle this season in the Premier League.
That's right.
Which is mental. But 11 draws. That is where I think it's going to be determined whether you get top 4 or not. And I think Newcastle drawing those many games is a little bit concerning. I have also gone for a draw. I don't see us winning this game. Is it in for top 4 hopes? Probably would be. But then again, we've got that game in hand against Chelsea. And I think, being honest, I think if you look at that Chelsea game, I think Liverpool would probably go into that game thinking that they could get something out of that. I'm going 1-1. I'm going 1-1 as well for this one. And then we have the 2 games. We have the 2 games on Sunday, and it's Manchester United against Leicester City. Yes, Manchester United. Last game, Casemiro is suspended until the final next Sunday. Leicester, they have picked up massively. 2 wins in a row against Aston Villa and Tottenham, scoring 8 goals. And they have a new hero on their horizon, Tete. And Kelechi Iheanacho is starting to fire in the goals as well. This will not be an easy game.
No, and obviously, if you remember at the start of the season, we played them. It was our first win. It was one of our first. It was one of the very first few games we won at the start of the season. Obviously, good form where we beat Southampton, we beat Liverpool, and we beat Leicester. But they apart from the Liverpool game, we beat Southampton, we beat Leicester 1-0. Leicester had a lot of good chances. They had a fantastic free kick that was saved by De Gea. They had some fantastic chances as well on us that were saved by De Gea, or Lisandro Martinez picked up really well from scope from defence. This is so difficult to call. Obviously, I'm going to go in favour of my team, but it's not by much. Generally not by much. But on the live as well, Leicester are in very good form. They've turned things around. They've finally settled their system. They've got players back themselves. James Maddison is comfortable on the right-hand side rather than number 10. He seems to have found natural position as a wide midfielder, which helps. And obviously as well, the fact that their owner has pulled the debt away and reinvested the capital is a very good thing for them because I think it means now that they'll actually re-sign Yuri Tielemans. I think they'll re-sign him now personally, even though I would have taken him on a free to further strengthen our midfield, even though we'll make signings in the summer. I still would have taken Tielemans. I think he may end up staying at Leicester now and continue to captain them to another good few years. Unless a club goes in for him quickly and signs him. But this is going to be hard to call. The good thing for us, though, is at home.
Yeah,
we've got a fantastic record at home this season. We've turned things around. Erik ten Hag has made Old Trafford pretty much a fortress this year. Defensively, we're far better, but without Casemiro, it's a bit of a... It's iffy. I think if Casemiro was playing, I think we would have won this maybe 2 or 3-1. I think we would have had more goals than us as well, and we could afford to leave him with Varane and Martinez in defence and keep us calm. I also need to bear in mind as well that prior to this, we're going to be travelling back from Spain, even though it's the early kickoff. I'm annoyed that we're actually playing this game early on the Sunday. I think we should be on I think we should be the later game, but I'm not bothered. I'll take it, but I'm going 1-0 United, but it's going to be so damn close. I'm
1-0 Man United.
Yeah, Leicester are in good form. I'm not going to take it away from them, but I think we can still nick a result, and I think it will go in our. I think it'll definitely go in our favour. So yeah, 1-0.
Yeah, I've gone 2-1 Manchester United, but I'm just thinking with, as you say, the travel, there might be players they might get rested potentially. Rashford probably being, one of them. As well, and obviously you have but I suppose you've got Barcelona to come on obviously the Thursday, and then they obviously have the cup final the next again Sunday. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-1. I don't give Man United clean sheets because they very, very rarely do, especially especially recently. Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 Man United. I think they will just have enough to beat Leicester, but yeah, Leicester will make it difficult for them. And the final game is another London derby. It's Tottenham against West Ham.
Yeah.
Are you concerned for Son? Son's form for me has been very up and down this season.
He has, and that's a massive blow for Tottenham because he is the key focal point for creativity, and I don't actually rate their chances at all. I don't rate them at all. I don't rate their chances at all, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But I done the watch along for the game in the Champions League, and he took every free kick. And it didn't look convincing for delivery as well. Like there was nothing from Son. So he's tailored off. He's still a good player. I think he just needs a break. He doesn't have anybody real rotation to come in. Like Richarlison's not a winger. He's a striker. Kulusevski plays on the right hand side. So I don't think they have anybody on that left hand side. So like Dan Juma maybe.
Yeah, West Ham, difficult, isn't it? I mean, 1-1 with Chelsea seems to be a very good result, but it doesn't really get them away from danger.
No, it doesn't.
This is a really tricky one because Spurs are not in the best of form. I mean, Spurs beat Manchester City 1-0 and then go and get absolutely battered 4-1 by Leicester City and then get beaten Milan. But because West Ham are struggling, I can see Tottenham winning this. I'm going 2-0 Spurs, but it ain't a confident prediction, I can tell you that.
I've went for the same one.
2-0 Tottenham. Not easy game to predict, but no, there we go. There are the 10 predictions that we have predicted. I will quickly go through what I have gone for. So I've gone Aston Villa 1, Arsenal 2, Brentford 2, Crystal Palace 0, Brighton 2, Fulham 1, Chelsea 1, Southampton 1, Everton 2, Leeds 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Manchester City 3, Wolves 1, Bournemouth 0, Newcastle 1, Liverpool 1, Man United 2, Leicester City 1, and Tottenham 2, West Ham 0. Reece has gone 2-2, Aston Villa Arsenal, 3-1 Brentford against Crystal Palace, 1-1 Brighton Fulham, 2-1 Southampton against Chelsea, 1-1 Everton Leeds, 1-0 Manchester City, 4-1 Wolves, which is mental, I've got to say, 0-0 between Newcastle and Liverpool, 1-0 Man United, and 2-0 Tottenham. So there we go, guys. Get your predictions down in the comment section down below. And yes, apologies, it is obviously pre-recorded, but I will be back to normal next week. Reese, thank you very much for joining me. Really do appreciate it. Just tell the people where they can find you.
Thanks for having me, man. Devils Rising on YouTube and Twitter, and you can find me every Saturday at 4 o'clock on the weekly Armchair Sports Talk for the weekly Steel Chair Wrestling podcast.
Absolutely. But no, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. And leave your predictions in the chat. And I will see you next week for week 24. From me and Reese, it is good night, and we'll see you later. Bye.